Afternoon, everyone. We're doing another episode of the Saturday Artist Live interviews, and today we have Data Drayton, artist and owner of Data's Labyrinth Gallery, and I'm inviting him right now.
Can start a little later. That's okay. We're here.
Yeah, perfect. Sorry about the time mix-up earlier today, man.
No.
I completely forgot that you're not on the West Coast time, so that's the problem with doing this live show on Instagram. It screws up on time zones so easily.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, don't worry about it. Glad to be here.
Yeah, so why don't you introduce yourself, tell us your name, and what you're about.
Well, my name is Data. Most people know me as CJ. I did shows for 15 years across the United States, the big Comic-Cons. And then I started doing the shows in Europe, which was a lot of fun. And shit, dude, it was a ride. I mean, what do you want to know about it? I didn't watch any of your content. I don't come in to these things with agendas or knowing what people like to talk about. I don't know why this thing's on black.
I like that. It makes it fresh every time.
I like to just see what you're about. And I want to be able to let my mind go into the questionnaire blank so I can actually think. I don't like to prep anything. I like to test my wit to see if I can get what I want out of a conversation, or at least if I can test myself to go into a certain place and do something with the conversation. Anyway, this thing is...
I like that.
I don't know how to fix the focus here.
Mine does that too. For some reason, it's like it auto focuses on the wrong things.
Oh, my glasses all lit up, so it gets all. Okay. Well, let's do this. When did you become aware of what I was doing? Because did I meet you at a show? How did this happen?
Well, actually, so I was scrolling through on YouTube, and I was going through my YouTube shorts, and I came across your video talking about the leopard pants, and then you started going into Plato's Cave, and I was like, I dig this guy. And so I was like, I knew that I would love to have a conversation with you, because like the way you were talking about kind of the personifying the anti, that was just, it was such a, I don't know, it really hit home. So I really loved what you were doing with that.
It's funny.
So I wanted to know about your art.
When I do these, it's actually kind of interesting, because when I do these rants, it's how I deal with, like, I enter this sleeve of some kind of satirical character where going on these rants of all these things that I've learned, it's how I deal with the depression of paying attention and insight. So a lot of it's satire. A lot of it's, people don't realize this, but I go into I mean, it's silly, dude. I'm wearing cheetah print pants talking about 3,000-year-old fucking Platonic philosophy from ancient Greek. And people, dude, I got so many messages off of that video just calling me all kinds of fucked up shit. Like, it was just, it was really hilarious, because I kind of entered this sleeve so well that people, they think that this is this walking embodiment of some kind of like Salvador Dali used to do when he'd walk around the world calling himself the God. He was embodying this character of this hyped up version of some kind of artistic narcissist going through all kinds of existential crises. So I like to do that sometimes. It's a lot of fun, but adding on the things that I've learned traveling around the world doing shows, it's a lot of fun. So it's interesting that was the one that you saw and you got turned on enough to talk to me about it. So that's really cool. Well, why don't we, if you saw my YouTube video, what do you want to know about? Why don't you, I don't know if you have anything planned. You can ask me whatever you like, man. If you want to know about this stuff, or you want to know what I was doing prior that got me to that point where I was acting like cool.
Well, like after I saw that, and then I started looking at your art, and I was really struck by the, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of like the force in it. It has a very much like highly emotional. At least it looks very striking, you could say, the way that you paint. So how do you apply the medium that you work in?
It's a very interesting question because the way that I work is it's not it's not really. This is why it's interesting that you're talking to me after you see that specific video, because the way that it actually make more sense to you than most people that just saw me at the show because of the nature in which you found what I do. It's like this eclipse that happens when you become aware of the human condition. It's not really an artistic process of some sort of specific inspiration, except this concept of understanding truly what it means to be conscious, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have mind, body, and soul, and when you understand how to eclipse these three substances of material plane, you can access portal, like some kind of rift, to just embrace what a human is, and that is this walking sentient fucking ecosystem of passions and memories and thoughts and experiences. And if you can understand how to eclipse all of what a human being is, you can go into some kind of realm, which is the inner architecture of all these things that the ecosystem of the human is, and transcend that stuff into this world. So I liked glass because it served as a good I guess you could say served as a good surface to access that portal. So as I'm working, I'm revealing to the observer what it is that I'm doing, and that's the way that I always saw it. It's like a no secret shall go undivulged kind of thing. So when I'm painting in front of everybody at a show, it's just accessing portal to go in and then revealing to the viewer what is actually happening. So it's not really an artistic process. It's just, yes, there is the human technology of painting, but it's more of unlocking mind and channeling that in body and releasing that through sensory systems. I don't know if this makes any fucking sense to you.
It kind of does. It reminds me of, have you ever heard of Osmond Spare?
No.
He was an artist, I think it's like either 19th century or early 20th century, but he did like automatic writing. He was also a magician, and he like came up with his own form of chaos magic. But he would do like this whole thing. It's very similar to, it seems like how you're explaining. He was just tapping into the unconscious, to the other that's underlies the architecture of that's everything that we are,
what art is.
And lets it flow through him and to just do whatever.
Well, that's what it is. Art is a mystical practice of being able to transcend information from another realm. I mean,
I agree.
This is why I got so hooked on ancient history, because all the ancient cultures built their entire empires on sigils and archetypes and shapes and pictures, and that has turned into something that is just entertainment when it used to actually be a way to guide a culture. And that's what actually attracted me to art, was like there was some kind of hidden secret that a lot of these people knew, that they used to be called like shamans used to climb up on a pyramid and chop a fucking head off and look at the eclipse and paint all this crazy shit. And then it just fucking fascinated me. The first couple of places I used to travel to, I got obsessed with the conquest of New Spain, Spaniards going to Mexico, and the idea of two wildly different ways of seeing the world clashing for the first time must have been mind-blowing. I was at this ruin site in the Yucatan when I was backpacking through Mexico. It's called Chibi, and there was an anthropology museum outside of that, and I read this anthropologist's take on what it must have been like for these conquistadors to land on the beaches of Veracruz or wherever the hell they went, and saw the Aztecs for the first time, and how the Aztecs perceived these people coming over the shore, because I'd never seen anything like this. So the way that I see it is like this: if you close your eyes and you try to imagine something that you know, like a bicycle or a guitar or a water bottle, you can see a silhouette of that shape, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you are an Aztec shaman priest and you see for the first time coming over the ocean, the Gulf, a fucking ship, right? With sails, with horses, and
Mm-hmm.
dudes with beards, and big fucking sticks that go bang, right? You've never seen anything like that before. So how the hell does your mind process it? They didn't speak the same language. So they
Yeah.
thought, through this anthropologist's mind, that the fucking ocean was a portal to the end of the world because it brought gods with 6 legs with fucking boomsticks that killed shit and floating pyramids. That's how they perceived it, right? It's a wild concept of how the human mind accepts information based on what it's exposed to and how it can see things. So if you understand that reality has a limited number of these types of experiences, how do you tap into a plethora of knowledge or experiences or even visions, an unlimited amount of them? Well, internal. There's an ocean of ideas and vision and experiences in that ethereal realm, and art accesses that place in a way that nothing else can really do. So this was all about just some way of experiencing myself, how I fit into this. The biological biosphere clock is ticking, and it's the calendar. It's so you got to figure it out. You got to see it. You got to try to go into these worlds and try to get as much as you can. And this is how the vision develops. So I never got into art because I was trying to emulate a specific technique. It was all about understanding my own biospheric clock and how it bound to this place. And if you're a conscious being standing on Earth, right? There's something guiding you. There's something inside of this physical flesh sack that actually has the ability to think, comprehend, diagnose, dissect information and reciprocate it and project it out. Where the fuck is that coming from? And if it's coming from things that are ethereal, is there a way to control it? Is there a way to go more inside of it? Is there a way to actually develop it? All right. So that's where this knowledge came from. And I just kind of picked something that actually broke the circuit that allowed me to access that world. And it was just glass. And I started going into lights and using blades and all kinds of stuff. And it just opened and the portal was there. So I know it's very deep and philosophical, but I spent a lot of time thinking about this and how I actually found myself in that world of casting sigil magic. So that's just the way I saw it. I wasn't trying to paint comics. I wasn't trying to be some fucking big dick asshole artist in the scene. I just was trying to understand how I myself was bound to this world.
So would you say that the process of making your art is your spiritual practice or mystical practice?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. And I mean, is that not what the ancients were talking about? I mean, this is something that's so this is why I love ancient history so much. You know, I was in Greece and there was a guy I was talking to about something, and he said to me, out of all the shit that we know about ancient Greece, it's about 3% of what we could have known, right? And that's just so fascinating to me that we know so much and it's so little. And these people used these things. Read Socrates' Meno. He talked about this idea of how creative people can access these worlds. And if you can write or dance or paint or do something like sculpt, like the way that they built these fucking wild, beautiful sculptures, there's some place that these people are going to be able to access the ability to channel that vision. How do you control it? Where does it come from? How is yours different than anybody else's?
Yeah.
So I don't know, these very concepts that fascinate the fuck out of me. And the only thing in this place that enabled me to continue the study or practice of what the fucking soul is was art. So yeah, it's definitely I wouldn't say it's a mantra, but it's definitely a practice of while I'm here. Something, I guess you could call it spiritual. It has connotations to it, but I mean, yeah, sure, absolutely.
Because it is kind of like since you, as you explained, it's an inward-looking thing to be able to bring something out from that. As it, so
Well,
would you say
here's the thing
it comes?
about this, as going inward. Um, Most people, they take these kind of things that are spiritual and they outsource uh, the existential crises to some other entity, which relinquishes control, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you do that, you you lose. Oh, it's out of our hands. It's in God's hands, or whatever. But if you don't outsource the existential crises to an exterior force, now you're forced to face self. And how do you face self? It's a deep and dark path to face self. And the only way to actually do that is to create something out of it. Make no mistake about it, dude. You are a fucking sentient thing standing in the middle of all this experience. You have the ability to channel something and build something with your bare fucking hands. That's wild to me. That's a wild thing, and it's something that most people don't even think about. The fact that
Mm-hmm.
your brain, your body, all this shit just can eclipse, and you can fucking bring some artifact out of some other world and into this place that people can walk around, see it, and makes them feel shit. That's wild to me. And when you get stuck on that journey, the material world becomes fucking moot, because you're
Mm-hmm.
so locked into this idea that it's actually interesting, because Plato talked about this, the idea that idea space. What is actual real? What's real? The idea space or this place? Because all this shit had to come from somewhere, the guitars, all this stuff, right? It had to come from someplace. It started with an idea. So which came first, the chicken or the egg? The idea or the thing that the idea came from? We can feel
Yeah.
it. We can, smoke it. We could do whatever. But it had to come from someplace. So is this just an abstraction of where reality really came from? And if there's an infinite amount of ideas somewhere else, fuck this place, right?
See, I think of it as like kind of like a feedback loop. Like whereas like the material and versus like the archetypal or universal world that you're talking about, they influence each other. So like if you when you tap into the universal to create something in the material, you've now created a thing in the material plane which effectively puts it's like something new onto, or a new action at least in the plane of the ideals.
It's a
So
very,
it's kind of like that's how like a
yeah,
like a
they're backwards
magical
compatible.
way of technology. Yeah.
It's very interesting. Um, but in order for somebody to experience that world, you have to bring something out of it,
Yes.
because they don't know it exists, because it's intangible. It's nothing. It's formless. So you have to bring some kind of artifact from that formless, intangible world into a tangible universe to get people to see that there is a place out there where this shit came from. It's like,
Yes.
it's Jung talked about it. It's this collected unconscious thing. I don't know if you read any of that kind of stuff, Jung, or anything like that.
I love Jung. I've read a couple of his books, but some of them are just so dense that it really
Yeah,
takes me a long time to
it's
read it
very
because it's like
difficult.
it's a lot
You
to
got to
think
go back
about.
and reread and reread and because it's very hard. I mean, the guy
Yeah.
was brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah.
It took a long time to get to, even for me to understand Nietzsche. I remember picking up Nietzsche shit 5 years ago, and I thought I was trying to read code. Like, what the hell am I doing? And then,
Oh my God.
and then
Yeah.
but I was stuck on this Zarathustra. It's like, I'm gonna read because this guy's known for stuff, so I want to know what he's about. But I wasn't there yet, and this was years
Mm-hmm.
ago. And I picked it up again after more traveling and more shows and seeing more things. It's like, oh fuck, I get it now. But it takes time for your mind to process what other higher minds had figured out prior to you.
Yeah.
It's very this is why I love art so much, because art isn't just this daily mantra of getting up and going to work every day and doing the same fucking thing. You're actually, and based on where you are in your life and your experiences, you have the ability to study multiple things. Whatever
Yes.
art it is that you want to create, you can study this, you could study that. If your passions or your experiences or your your curiosities take you in a certain direction, you could steer the ship any which way you want to fucking go. And there's an infinite amount of knowledge out there and books to read and places to go to try to influence your understanding of these higher ideas. So art is a vessel to just learn shit, and I'm obsessed with learning shit. And,
Me too.
It's a very it's an interesting journey. So I just used art as a way to better understand how I coexist with this place while I'm here, because this isn't going to last. And the pleasures and physical desires of the plastic society we live in doesn't fucking interest me one bit. I'm obsessed with knowing things, right? And I don't even have a fucking TV in my house, dude. It's the whole living room's full of books. I just need to know shit. It's an obsession, so much so that it's to my detriment. Because I'm kind of a bore, dude. I mean, I'm a boring dude. I just paint and I read and I see shit, and I have very few friends, but I'm very happy with that journey because it's very fulfilling.
See, honestly, to me, that sounds like the shit. Because that's pretty much what I like doing. So like, I would say instead of people being boring, there are people that are less interested in others. Some people, they have their own kind of flock that they're going to feather to. But then there's the thinkers, though, the introverts. They're really hard to kind of get together, though, because they're always by themselves thinking or reading or doing something.
As you get older, as friendships are a job. You have to
work out.
Have to make effort to be in them. Love takes effort, man. It takes a lot of work.
It really does.
And now that it's even getting harder because it's cool because you're on the other side of the country and I can speak to you. So it's bound people in a way in which we never have been. But at the same time, why go out and talk to somebody when you can see what the fuck they're doing online? So it's an effort, chore to get together and share these things. Not to mention, you're in this international market of friendships now, and it's more complex because people have gone into their niche ideas of what they want their lives to be surrounded by, because there's so much stuff out there. It's like, well, this is cool and that's cool and this is cool, and things, you have so much choice now. What do I want to be surrounded by? What do I want to give my time to? And it makes it greater to learn things, but it also makes it much more harder to connect with people. As easy as it is to connect with people on a personal level, it makes it harder to do that, because you can get the cliff notes of somebody's life and you don't need the rest. You see my point? You can get the cliff notes online. It's like, I know what you're about. Okay, I'm good. So it makes it harder to connect with people. But you can get the cliff notes on subjects, and you can go deeper into those subjects. And that it makes it easier to learn, but it makes it much harder to connect. Does that make sense? Yeah.
It alienates to an extent because of the easiness of the communication.
Yeah. So
you're more alienated the more you can communicate.
And this is why in this, as we move forward in this, I wouldn't even call it a revolution. This tech de-evolution of the human mind. I'm very happy that I spent the last quarter of my life, or since I was 18, pursuing the arts, because it's I can't imagine, and this isn't a slur on anybody, but I can't imagine what it would be like to be in the world now, not being creative, not having a place to go outside of this matrix that we've come to inhabit. Because I don't want to be on this thing. When I was doing shows, I was posting art and travel all the time. I have almost no desire to be on here anymore. And my studio over here is just full of shit that I'm working on. I got over the course of the last 17 years, I wrote a bunch of books, and they're all done. But I was doing so many shows, I didn't have time or energy after traveling to get them done. So that's where my mind is so much now. I'm just reading, writing, and drawing, and it's a very interesting world to be in now, especially as a creative. So, as just to get back on track, as we went on a tangent here, my journey as an artist was just about understanding myself and why I was here. And there's dark reasons for that. Like, I don't want to share on here, but my childhood was deeply confusing and traumatic. So it was mostly depression that sent me on a journey of curiosity. That's why I started traveling at a young age. It's like, I gotta know what else is out here. We are more than just flesh and bone. We think, feel. We can operate this system in beautiful ways through dance and performance, and there's something else governing this, and I have to know if there's something else out there than just fucking paying taxes and saving to the point where you can't work anymore and then fucking going 6 feet in the grave. That there's more to this, and I gotta know.
Yeah.
So that's really what sent me on this. And when you realize, when you come face to face with your own mortality at such a young age, there's nothing you won't do to figure that out. And what was the spark for that to me was when I was 14. I saw this movie by M. Night Shyamalan called Unbreakable. And it's my favorite movie ever written, because it was about these two depressed guys that didn't know why they were here. Bruce Willis and Sam Jackson. One was always the one that got hurt, one that never got hurt. And they didn't have purpose. And every day they woke up, they just felt sadness. And I had never seen anything like that at such a young age. And one guy was complacent in his sadness. The other guy went through unspeakable acts to be able to find his purpose. And I thought, by the end of this, guy's wildly crazy. But what would I be willing to go through, put myself through, to figure that purpose out? So that changed me at such a young age, and I just went on that journey from there. And it was just like, fuck it, this is what I'm doing.
What what author really like blew your mind and changed how you saw the world?
Well, not really the world, but well, there's two. There's one, how I saw myself, and the other one, how I saw myself in the world. Number one, first and foremost,
It's backwards on my screen, so
Edgar Allan Poe. I mean, dude, this
oh yeah,
I've got his shit written all over my body. What you mistake for madness is but over acuteness of the senses. I had never heard anything like that before, dude. It's like he perfectly portrayed what it means to go into these worlds and actually access this stuff. And no one can really understand what an individual is dealing with to be able to do these things. But that's why he is who he is, because he was able to communicate deep, dark curiosity and passions in a way that nobody else was able to. And when you're pursuing these things in the art world, and you're being told your whole life, you're never going to do this, you're never going to do this, you're never going to do this, you're never going to make it, go get a job, go get a job, go get a job, it makes you feel like you're fucking mad, right? Because it's like, I'm relentlessly going down this route, but everybody keeps telling me it's not going to happen, but I'm not going to cave. So am I the one that's nuts? So when you start reading Poe, it's like he perfectly portrayed that, what it meant to be in your own state of mind, feeling so deeply and experiencing so deeply, while everyone else is saying this is the way life is, and this is what you have to do. No, it's like there's more, and I'm going to do that. So yeah, Poe, absolutely. And the other one,
I'm going to
the real world, would probably be H.P. Lovecraft.
I still have to read Lovecraft's work. I've heard lots of things about it. They all seem really, really cool and very much up my alley, but I've just got so many other books that are just like ahead, so like I have to go through my list first.
Lovecraft did, he didn't, as Poe went internal, he went into the implicate. Lovecraft went into the explicate, and this was coming out of the Victorian era. So he still had that sense of romance to his work, not like Poe, who's deeply romantic and tragic, which what the Victorians were known for. Lovecraft went into a more, he accessed the implicate self by comparing it to the explicate world, with saying that in the mind, this is where all of the this is where the access of fear of the unknown lives in all of its grandeur and monstrosity. And when you're exposed to such, that you go insane from the revelation, or you flee back into the peace and safety of a dark state of mind or a dark age. His stuff was wildly advanced, and you could definitely tell he was inspired by Victorians, but he put things into perspective on a worldly level in its grandeur and monstrosity. Poe put things into perspective for me on a personal level of thinking and feeling so deeply about the nature of the world and myself therein. So that's, I usually go back to there's very few things today that inspire me, very few. Art prior to the 2000s, in my opinion, let's just put that out there, was less about entertainment and more about exploration of conscience, mind, and world. And that's where we always go back to these known knowns that are greats that truly inspired a lot of the things today. It's I mean, just the last 10 years of superheroes, it's like, is this all we are now? It's just as artists, we just taking that mouse money? Like, what are we doing here? Right? So
Is there any art from ancient cultures that you really enjoyed or drew inspiration from?
Yeah, absolutely, dude. Fucking, like I said, I backpacked through Mexico twice. Ancient, like I built that fucking easel like a Mayan temple, and I spent so much time studying that. Of how far back ancient are we going? Because there's also you're talking Bronze Age, you're talking Iron Age. Bronze Age definitely, because you had grand mythos that put our minds and our lives into perspective and musings that still affect us today, like Greek lore, right? Like Greek lore is very powerful, and I think that's why it still stands the test of time, some of the best mythology ever written, because it gives us such access to our own human conditions in a way that they understood very well. Their gods were fallible and fucked up like the rest of us, right? It wasn't like this overbearing, omnipresent force that thought it was better than us. They knew they were just as fallible and just as fucked up and had just as many fallacies in their soul. And they hated us for it because they wanted us to be better. So they would punish us, because it's almost as if they envied us but hated us because they didn't want to be like us. So when you think about ancient mythology in that way, it still holds better than most stories today. And that's, yeah, absolutely. I would say that things like that and that nature, because it's a reflection of the human soul. And what is art supposed to do but connect with people? It's not enough for me to just be entertained. This is why I get so bored with the entertainment industry. It's just boring to me. I get very little out of it on that journey of self-discovery through art. Because like we said before, my process was just about understanding why I'm here. And if it's just a systematic fucking motion machine of let's just remake this and reboot this and do this and do that, it's just like we're getting nothing out of this, right? Every culture had some kind of very interesting mythology that put themselves into perspective of the universe that they came from. And it's always fun to go back and read that stuff, because you take more out of it as you age and become a little bit more wise, or think that find out that you were dumb here or whatever. It's always a journey of going back into these things that help them understand their place in the universe. And these lores, they're amazing. And it's like the tale of Artemis and the guy leaving the city. Because here's a good one, to answer your question with an example. There was a hunter. He had a bunch of hound dogs or something like that. And the Greeks believed that if you left the city, things were out of your control. It was all in the hands of the gods. You were safe within the realm of society. And he took his dogs to go hunt outside the city, and he stumbled across nymphs and Artemis. And he tried to, I guess it was for the punishment of laying eyes on this deity, he was turned into a stag. And the very thing he went out to hunt, his dogs ended up hunting him. And the lesson here was, it's easy for your friends to turn into foes, right? At the time it's done, just by a simple act of seeing or doing something, or a place you shouldn't have belong. And that's a simple story, and it's a simple musing, but that's something that you would never understand at like 22 years old, right? Like I get that now at 36. That's because of constant friendships and betrayals or passions shared or whatever it is. It's like you can always go back to these ancient lores and learn shit in a way that most things today even have to derive from that. Like, what is all Disney movie but fucking Shakespeare, right? It's all we always go back to these things. So every age, probably up until the 2000s, had something to offer to the human soul that we've completely abandoned for the sake of just industry. So absolutely.
Yeah, for the sake of making money.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of like what you were talking about with the Greek lore and how it carries information forward. I had this thought once a couple years ago. The whole reason why these myths were so outlandish with some of their symbols is because that would impress upon the minds of the people. So you could, it's like a mnemonic device. And if you just remember the story, the information, the esoteric information that's hidden behind all the symbols get carried forward without having, you know, to try to explicitly explain something. Because if you do that, people might fuck it up. They'll replace it with their own thoughts or whatever, you know, like their own type of theology and spin on it or create their own thing. But if you just tell the original story with the symbols that hide the esoteric information, the original meaning can be passed on without the
it's timeless, man. It's
yeah.
timeless. Yeah. I don't know if we're on track to what you wanted to talk about, but
No, this is perfect, man.
you have to guide me, because my mind will wander into, do you want to talk about esoteric shit? Like, my mind will go and it won't stop. So if we're off track, just get me back on.
No. See, like, my point of the podcast is I want to dive into the personality of the artist. I want to learn a little bit about what they do and their techniques, but I want to learn how they think, because that's where the creation comes from. It's about the person's personality that comes out onto canvas. So, like, I want to dive into, like, what makes them tick.
Yeah.
So, like, when you talk about esoteric stuff, what are some of your favorite things to talk about?
Well, there's a merging here of, it kind of separated itself for a while. Anything esoteric, anything theological, religious, creative. This is why painters and sculptors in Italy in their high time of the Middle Ages were so close to the popes and the clergy, because it was such a powerful way to influence the ideology of the church that they became best friends. And dude, fucking Bernini, this guy was best friends with the Pope to the point where he practically murdered his fucking brother and destroyed his wife. She got locked in prison, and nothing happened to him because he was a devilishly good-looking dude. He had fucking skill. You ever seen his sculptures? They're amazing. I've seen them in Italy. But their skills were so divine that the idea of the arts being bound with anything esoteric regarding ceremony of theology, religion, or even black magic or Necronomicon, as fucking Lovecraft talked about, or even ancient paganism and tribes, these things were merged. There was no separation. There has been now, because of the fact that images can get stuck in your head, and it's like once it's there, a certain color, a feeling, a passion that's connected to a sigil, it will never go away. What do you think a flag is, right? It's when you really dissect it, it's just shapes and colors at the end of the day. But it holds so much fucking meaning that it's hard to separate the meaning from those shapes and colors. I can get conspiratorial on why these things were broken up, but I think that's a different conversation. But there is a very unique circumstance between the esoteric nature of all these different cultures and why they were so heavily bound with creative people. Societies were built on this stuff, and this is why I got burnt out with the entertainment scene doing shows, because it was so much fun for such a while, but I got to a point after seeing so much and traveling so much, I wanted to expand myself in other areas and write other projects based on things that I was learning and to where I was at that point. And not that I didn't appreciate it for what it had done for me, or I was tired of seeing the people, because I made a lot of friends and family that supported me for years, but I just got burnt out of it because I didn't feel it was serving me personally a purpose anymore. I just became part of contributing to the machine in that way. And I didn't start out as an artist to just contribute to the machine. And I felt that if I just took some time off, got some projects done, I would be able to reconnect with how and why a lot of these artists were bound to the esoteric nature of our minds, soul, and what we are and where we come from, to start getting more into that kind of those questions. So the best writers, the best artists, it's always a process of dissecting these topics. Not to say that I offer anything great to this, because I don't quite frankly like myself too much, but it's the things I want to explore. Absolutely. More than just, as much as I do like it, I just, how many times can I paint Batman?
Right.
So
I understand there's a constant, like, a need to be able to sustain, and also a need to branch out into new areas.
Yeah, I mean,
And so that way you're edifying
by the
yourself.
time that last Batman movie came out, it's like I just didn't care anymore. It's like I've been seeing the same shit for 30 fucking years. There's other things out there that are intriguing to the mind and the contributions of what the fuck we're all doing here. And I noticed also another really interesting non-trend trend that if you look at the last 100 years of creativity, every decade had some kind of really interesting staple as to what those creative people were doing and what they were trying to do culturally and for themselves. We've entered a really weird world where we don't have any. There's really nothing that I see happening in terms of movement or dissent. It's just a tech boom, right? We're just exploring tech. How many different platforms are we going to do? How can you go viral? How can you be an influencer? How can you do this? It's like, where's the actual art movement that was identifiable to the 80s or the 90s or the 70s or the 60s? I fucking hated the 60s. I didn't really care for the music, but I liked the more psychedelic stuff like Pink Floyd and Hendrix and things like that. But where is that staple of where we're at now? It just seems like everybody is trying to contribute something to keep the machine moving and expand. It's like, okay, well, everybody's on this platform, so that's where I'm going to go now. It's like, well, what are we doing? What are we doing creatively? Where's the movement? How is this different than the 90s? How is this different from the early 2000s? How is this different from the 80s? There's very identifiable staples of what artists were doing. I'm having a hard time seeing it, except in the revolution of tech. And that's not really that interesting to me because I could give two shits about binary code, right? So, or the next platform. Like I said, I'm not really interested in being on these things too much anymore. I want to explore more of how we're evolving as creative people and not just through another remake. What are we doing? And that's really what I'm interested in. What am I doing? What are we doing? Creative people. How are we influencing ourselves and how we think and but I also grew up in that era of counterculture and punk rock and grunge rock. Like that's how my mind thinks. So
Yeah.
it's passionate pursuits of the creative arts to explore these things. So when you grow up in that era, that's what sets in your mind as what art is. And I'm not really seeing that too much anymore. It's just trends of how to go viral, and it's concerning to me.
Well,
I really want to see artists get back to that level of true counterculture, and it's just not really happening. People are just trying to take the masses' money.
When you think about it, like back in those days, there was something really you could clash against, like in the 60s, 70s, 80s. There's always some kind of, we were opening up more civil rights slowly, and there's still always something to crash against.
This is why grunge rock is my favorite, because it was clashing against yourself.
Yeah.
Grunge rock.
Yeah. And now even that has been commercialized. Even like just the ideology of even rebellion has become commercialized. And now record companies they're like, yeah, because you can't. How can you rebel if you're already being accepted for your rebellion? So it's like, oh yes, come have your your mosh pit or whatever. It's like, yeah, come on, we're gonna make tons of money. They've commercialized rebellion, so now even rebellion itself is no longer rebellious.
I don't mind people. It's not even it's not like it matters, but I don't mind artists marketing themselves to make money. Where I understand that is that it's not really counterculture. Which is what arts were known for. It's just everybody is just trying to do something that gets them to the next point of what is deemed popular, right? So if everybody's on TikTok, go there because you can get your tip. If everybody's on Instagram, go there, right? So when you look at it, Facebook is Gen Xers and Boomers. Instagram is millennials, older millennials. They're all about marketing and money. And TikTok is a bunch of kids that are obsessed with entertaining themselves. So that's why I actually find people who shit on TikTok, but I actually find TikTok to be the most counterculture in a way. Not the content, but the fact that it's still, you can go on there, act like a fool, and do whatever you want to do, and gain traction to that. Where when you look at the format of Instagram, it's just, I see sponsorships all the time, marketing. It's so boring. Like I want to see real counterculture again in a way that we saw in the 80s and 90s. And everyone's just trying to fit in. They're just trying to fit in. It's like, I want to be accepted as this. That's why when I got on there and I was, that satirical performance that you saw me going, I want to become nothing, right?
Yeah.
Fucking
That was
explode, like a
hilarious.
fucking pulsar coming out of a dying star. Like I see all this, and it just drives me crazy. It's like I want whatever. I am the world's opposite. I want to be the antimatter. Like if this is what this is, if this is what's popular, I'm going in the other fucking direction because I don't care. Like I want to do anything that I want to do the exact opposite of what conformity is. That's really where I'm at as an artist. So if that means leaving the shows to figure something else out, to come back to do something different, that's exactly what I'm going to do. Because now everybody's doing shows, and now when you walk
Yeah.
to Comic-Con, it's just the same shit everywhere, and I got very little inspiration from it. So I'm in that point of trying to bring myself back to the roots of real 90s grunge or punk and counterculture with my own work, and I started pursuing other bodies of work. So it's interesting that you I don't know if you saw the Gaia piece I did. I was doing this whole body of Greek work.
I have to go check that
yeah,
out.
I just had a model come in recently to do the next piece because it's all about the creation of the universe through Greek lore and where that came from. So I figured I'd start there with a new body of work. Let's start with chaos and see if I can rediscover myself in that way through Greek lore, these ancient musings and how they believed the universe came to be. And through that body of work, let's see where that takes me. So it's a constant journey. Like I said, steering the ship any which way you want to go based on what you want to learn. I want to rediscover those roots of how I grew up, finding purpose, unbreakable, you know. Now that we know who you are, I know who I am. I'm not a mistake. These are things that are deeply ingrained in my mind as an artist to create. So I'm open to a lot of different things. And but as far as the entertainment machine goes, I think I've had my fill with it. I'm good. It's not doing anything. It's not doing anything for me. So yeah, ancient cultures. To your question, back to the point, I've started finding myself going back to these things because there's so much to take away from ancient knowledge and ancient history. Yeah, that's why I think it's so funny. They say, "Oh, don't focus on the past." But that's the only place you can learn shit, right?
Yeah.
I'm not really interested in tech revolutions. It does nothing for me. So, yeah, absolutely, man. It's a good point to bring up. That's where I'm at right now.
I think I'm gonna have to. Yep, it's about that time. But is there where can people find your stuff online and find your work and see all your stuff?
Like I said, I'm in the process of imploding. I'm trying to get the fuck off tonight. I come here every now and then to post. It's not like I used to. Like I said, I was posting stories all the time and posting artwork, but it's really not something that I'm not at that point anymore. I'm backing off of it a lot to just isolate, contain, and reflect on what I'm trying to do now. There's the only way to take in these experiences and create something out of it is you have to be able to sit back for a moment with yourself. Like I said, not outsource existential crises to some other force and hope that it can solve your problem. Creativity is problem solving, and I want to solve a lot of the questions, or at least try to get some of them answered, or at least discover another door that can be opened through the questions I have creatively implicate way and express them in an explicate way. So I don't know if this went the way you wanted it to go, but or talk wise, but
This was great, dude. This was great because this is a lot of the it's adjacent to pretty much everything that I'm into, like especially the ancient history. I have tons of books on that, and especially Plato. I just love his stuff. So it's very interesting to get a different perspective.
It's wild to say that. Like I get more entertainment out of reading his dialogues now than I do watching most shit that comes out of Hollywood.
Oh yeah.
It's not really, or most content, because it's funny, dude. There's like hidden humor in the shit that he wrote. Reading Plato dialogues, it's fucking entertaining because you're witnessing a master draftsman write how to actually have a conversation, and there's fucking like hidden humor in it, witty banter. Man, it's so interesting and fun to read that shit through the perspective of these people just sitting around fucking smoking whatever the hell they were smoking, eating pita bread, and having these talks about what the fuck we're all doing here, right? It's truly entertaining, dude. I get so much enjoyment out of it, and this is why people think I'm boring. But no, man, it's just where I'm finding my creative pursuits. So going more internal than external and trying to find a visual vestige to be able to bridge forth these things from other worlds into this realm.
But to answer point blank 2030's question, did you miss it? Yeah, we're wrapping up right now. But and read Cicero's In Defense of the Republic. That's in my list.
Keep going, dude. I'm here. Like I said, if you want to keep going, you want to end this one and start over. It's up to you.
No. This is great, but I just have some stuff that I got to get going and doing some choring.
Because I said 2 hours. I said 2 hours for you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't think that you would want to talk for so long. I appreciate it though. Thank you for coming on.
How I am, dude. I like to go in this space and talk about these things. And I wanted to get. I know I kind of. I know you wanted to interrogate me a little bit, but I wanted to see where you were at too on certain things. I don't know if this went the way you wanted it to go, but I hope.
If you want to ask me a few questions, I can probably squeeze in like another 20 minutes. If
yeah, let's do that, please, if you don't mind.
Okay.
I wanted to know this video that you saw. What is it that you are doing? And again, I didn't look at your content because I like to go into things blind. People are blank slates. I like to look at things objectively and figure out for myself reality and all its substance. So that specific video, what was it that specifically attracted you to it, and how does it relate to the things that you like to discuss or talk about? Specific, because I talk.
Well,
about
Yeah, I like the idea when you started talking about the idea of Plato's cave. That's something like I know it's very popular to talk about, and it's I wouldn't say cliche,
fun.
but it's fun.
Extraordinarily relevant, dude.
But I like that idea of like there being the archetypal universal, like you're saying, because like I read some Jung, but not enough. I still need to read more, but that idea of the material realm being kind of like the shadow cast from a different realm, like we're the shadow of the universal that creates the particulars. Yeah. And since you started bringing that up, I was like, I started watching some of your other videos, started looking at your art. I'm like, I really want to see what this guy's about. I tried to do the same thing where don't spoilers. So I tried to I stopped looking at your stuff. Wanted to wait till we got this conversation so that way it could kind of flow organically and I could discover just little bits in the conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the idea of the character that you were playing really seemed very dramatic and flam. That's not the word I'm looking for. That you were having fun with the role.
It
was super.
Print pants.
Yeah, it was just the ability to slip into the persona of the mask. It really was like entertainment. Like I wanted to know more about what you're about.
That's how I make it interesting. I mean, it's not often you can sit here and talk about these things and keep people's attention because our attention spans have gone to trash, right? So I read a lot as a training method to be able to rebuild my attention span because I know I have been affected by this over the last 30 years too. I mean, just notice commercials when cable TV was still a thing. It was 30, 40 seconds. Now, if you don't get someone's attention in 3-5 seconds, it's over. People are bored. So I suffer from this thing too. So a lot of the reason why I got offline and over the course of the last 10 years, I read like 50 to 60 books a year. Sometimes I read them again because I'm in the process of rebuilding what was effectively destroyed by the machine, which is my ability to focus and retain information. That is a serious fucking issue. So that's another one of those things of not saying, okay, well, if this is the machine, so we're in an attention-based economy. If you can't get my attention in 5 seconds, fuck you, I'm on to the next thing. Actually, that's an internal problem, and I noticed that was an internal problem. So instead of trying to cater to this, it's like, okay, well, I got to cater to this known destruction of the mind here. Let me actually fix my own and say, well, this is something I suffer from too. Let me actually get off of this and retrain my mind to retain the essential, get rid of the inessential, and see where that takes me as a person. And I find myself when I read having to go back and read a page. This is how I noticed it was a problem. When I would read, I'd start thinking about other shit, and I would have to go back. I was like, what the fuck? I was just reading. I had to go back and reread. So now I'm more conscious about how my attention span was fucked by all this media, too much shit at too fast pace. So that's really where I'm talking about, which is instead of outsourcing the problem to be solved through some other means, you maintain the crises and you fix
Mm-hmm.
it from within. And that's I'm on this constant path to do that. So as far as, and this is what I found interesting about it, when I was doing these hyped up satirical videos, people were watching 10-minute. That's unheard of now, right? It's unless you're a Jordan Peterson or a Joe
Yeah.
Rogan, people aren't going to sit around 2 hours to watch your shit. So if you are entertaining enough and interesting enough, people will watch your content. But that is the one thing that I did learn. So you can really discuss whatever you want, but you have to give it to people in a way that either makes them despise you or go, I gotta see what the fuck this guy's gonna say next, right? So a lot of these topics regarding the esoteric nature of what we are, it's very fascinating to me. And I as far as the cave thing you were mentioning that triggered you, I noticed a motif with every age of period of enlightenment of the human race, which was a cave is always referenced, and it was Bronze Age cave, the Plato cave. Then there was the Nietzschean cave where he stepped out. He wanted to become the Ubermensch, right?
Mm-hmm.
Man overcome man. Then we get into the New Age. Then there's the fucking Matrix, right? We're all in the digital cave. Now everybody is creating their own cave out of this digital cave. Now we're creating our own caves. You're not actually leaving the cave. You've just built your own sector of the cave, and you're trying to guide those people into your sector of the cave to do. You see what I'm saying? So it's just this
Mm-hmm.
never-ending motif of cave, where I was the slave that just saw the staircase and said, "Fuck this, I'm out." Right? If I have to stare at the sun by myself, that's what I'm going to do. But that's really where a lot of this had come from. So leaving the cave in general and recalibrating the mind to be able to focus. And I'm very well aware that that is an issue that I suffer from a lot of, what most people suffer from too much fucking information too
Mm-hmm.
quickly. I want to be better at that. So that's why I find reading Plato dialogue so fascinating, dude, because it's these turn-based conversations of people
Yeah.
having a conversation about what it just means to actually interact with each other. So it's interesting. But yeah, it's interesting that was one of the things that that got your attention.
Especially, I find it interesting when artists are influenced by philosophy, because I know a lot of artists that
It's not uncommon.
Yeah, I know a lot of artists that are just kind of more like they just came across, they just like making pretty pictures. It's like, that's awesome. But then there's the artists that are really like, the whole point of their painting is a part of their thinking process. And I like diving into the different, like why each artist does art, like what it fulfills for them. Because it's all about self-fulfillment to an extent. We have to create because we're either bringing something out or we're putting something into ourselves. Like if you create a painting that's just for the beauty of that painting, you're creating something just to kind of entertain yourself, to bring something into yourself rather than bring what's inside
that's
you
totally
out.
fine, man. Doing that.
Yeah.
Any artistic way you want to go is fine. Again, I'm not trying to trash anybody, but for
Oh
me,
yeah,
it's
same.
not enough. Like I have to know. Like there's just things I have to know. Like we're not here. The biosphere clock is ticking, dude, and it's all going to come to an end. And the more there's a quote. If you ever read Da Vinci's notebooks, there was something that I read in there that was really fascinating. He was talking about all these things that we learn, all these things that we accumulate. It just goes away, and there's never enough time to take it all in. And you have to be satisfied with what you do, or at least able to take in. So when I create. As I got to a place of a certain point in my mind where I wanted to branch off and go a different way, there's things about doing those shows I do miss, but overall, I just didn't want to be a part of it anymore because where I was going couldn't be found in that environment. As far as this is why I love, like I said, the glass, the suspension, the way that I think it was just about transcending information through a portal of self. And I firmly believe this, and not that I have much beliefs. I try to stay as objective as possible. But I do firmly believe that we are walking ecosystems of this entire universe as a whole. We're not in it. It's a part of us. your mind is like a fucking external hard drive that it's just constantly taking in information, and it stores shit in places that we can't even find, like, you know, memory and dream space and ideas. Like, how do you locate that shit in the brain? Where is it coming from? How is it getting there, right? And it's coming from somewhere. So where's the source? And
Yeah.
these are the things that fascinated me. So as the vessel for art was just a way to try to access these worlds. It wasn't enough to just, it was just enough to just put brush on a canvas. I had to actually do something that manifested in some way that idea. So this glass, this portal, this light, it was, this is a full reenactment of how I'm perceiving my existence in a way. And when I say the line, this is how I deal with the depression of insight or paying attention, I know that there's a possibility that I will never get the answers I want here. And that's what leads them to the melancholy, right? I don't have any desire for earthly pleasures, whether it's material items, fucking big home, sex. It doesn't, none of this shit means anything to me. It doesn't. Because this is just one little experience. You want to talk about a pop culture sleep? I'm like Dr. Manhattan. I walked in the machine, I got exploded, I'm trying to rebuild myself, and I'm looking at the bra going, I don't fucking understand this place anymore. I'm out. I'm going to go walk on the sun, and I'm going to go create life somewhere else. Right? I'm literally entering a Dr. Manhattan complex with this. There's some other answer that I'm seeking that I'm not so sure I'm going to get here. And it leads to solitude, and it leads to this crazy crisis of just reading as much shit as I can to try to communicate as much shit as I can through the work that I do. It's really why it's hard to explain, man. I don't really know where the psychosis comes from, but I think it can. I tried to trace it all the way back to the moment I was 14 and saw that movie Unbreakable. You had Mr. Glass. He was a dude that was deeply depressed and could always get hurt, and there was no length, no bridge, no place he would not cross, including committing acts of terror and killing all these people in this movie to figure out what the fuck he was doing here. And when the crescendo of that movie hit and they shook hands, and he's looking down in the wheelchair, and he says, you know what the scariest thing is? To not know your place in this world, to not know why you're here. It's just an awful feeling. And then he turns and he says, now that we know who you are, I know who I am, and I'm not a mistake. Dude, it was just like fucking mind-blowing to me. I'd never heard anything like that at 14. And I didn't really have good guidance as a kid, or any at all for that matter. So imagine what that would do to a 14-year-old. So chasing this psychosis back to that moment was like, well, what is mine? So it just took me all over the world, and I'm in this transitory phase of going in another direction. And it's interesting we're having this conversation now, because there's certain things that I'm figuring out where I'm going to go and what I'm going to do. So I hope that gives you a good idea of what that video was about.
It does.
I just have to say these things in a super dramatic and fucking crazy way, because inside my mind is chaos, right? So it comes out in those videos, but people thought I was just on here being a narcissist, which wasn't untrue, but it was just kind of funny how serious people take that shit, because people take everything on the internet so goddamn serious.
Yeah, it's interesting as artists, and you have to have a slightly narcissistic part, at least, to be able to even be an artist, because you have to put yourself, which is your work is part of yourself, on display for everyone to see. So there is that small bit that's
totally
just, yeah.
It's the most selfish thing in the world, because it's not for anybody but you. But in turn, this is where I wrote down in my notebook, the most sincere form of altruism is selfishness. Because nobody really cares about people that are purely selfish or selfless. They get destroyed. Christ gets crucified. Socrates drinks the fucking hemlock. Martin Luther King is shot in the back. No one really appreciates truly selfish people. This is the fucked up part about the human mind. We only truly care about people that don't care about anybody else on their own goal. And I always find that absolutely fucking fascinating, because people that are on their own mission to do something, and people are going, oh, well, I got to go do this for me, because that's deeply inspiring. So we are a complex machine of absolute insanity. And this idea of altruistic selfishness you know, Oscar Wilde wrote about this in the preface to the picture of Dorian Gray. He said, art is useless. It does absolutely nothing for anybody. Did you ever read that? It was fucking amazing. It's fucking
No,
amazing.
I
It
haven't.
makes
That's a
total
great
sense. But
line,
yeah,
though.
he wrote this whole fucking page and a half of how useless art is, and it really is utterly useless. There's only four main things that the sapien needs to survive: sex, food, shelter, and drink. Right? Anything else is just external. It's all extra. Art back, let's say 1,000 years ago, was meant to elevate. And we've been pushed into this position of just being a court jester for entertainment.
Yeah,
So me personally,
it's become art for art's sake, whereas before art was for art's sacred. It was to embody the divine, to be able to pass on the lore, and it's always connected to
ritual,
these,
dude. Go
to the ritual of the people.
They built these fucking temples. I mean, you go to the Temple of Poseidon right there on the Aegean Sea at Whither. It's fucking amazing in all its grandeur. It's like how many fucking things got sacrificed at this temple just for the fucking idea that if we don't do this, Poseidon is gonna fucking wreck every ship crossing to go to fucking destroy Troy. Like it's amazing that that our societies were built on this level of inevitability, right? And to a certain degree, it's a good thing that we're not that way anymore. But at the same time, there's a majestic nature of having such awe and respect for the divine mind in a way to create something to give penance to. It's really fascinating. And we still do this. We still all appreciate art. But I do think we've lost our way in this a little bit. Including the rape and the pillage and the fucking destruction. But the idea of building a monument, like a temple, that's based on artistic, it's beautiful, man. The Acropolis, it makes you. First time I saw it, I was in tears. I'm like, this is fucking amazing, dude. This is so wild. It's on a mountain in the middle of Athens. This people built this shit. It's wild to me, and I get so deeply awe-inspired by these ancient things that will be here when my ass is dead and gone. And that's what really gets me now more than just some fucking stupid movie coming out by some fucking, you know what I mean? There's such a presence to the things that humans can do, and I feel that we are slowly drifting away from that by putting both feet in the spiritual void. And you see it all over the internet. Big dick CEO, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm an influencer, I'm this, yada, yada. It's like, dude, we are so far from the source, it's not even funny. So that's at least what I see. So I'm trying
totally
to find my yeah. So I appreciate the conversation, man. It's good.
Me too. This was fascinating.
Cool. Great. Sorry about the.
Well, I'll see you. Yeah. Ooh, what?
The timing confusion. Sorry, but I didn't know you were on the West Coast. Man.
It's all right. I completely forgot to say anything. It was great that we could connect, though.
Yeah, right on, dude. I'm glad you reached out to me. Thank you for the opportunity to talk.
No problem. So we'll have to do another one of these at some point.
Okay, great, perfect. Excellent.
All right.
Take care, brother.
Peace, bro.